edition of eMigr8 Open Day. It promises to be insightful and exciting. Today, we will focus on move to the US as a tech founder. And we've got our coach in the room already who has prepared and is geared to take us through a journey as regards moving to the US as a tech founder. Today, we'll be talking about the US O1 visa, but we will also touch on a few other routes of moving to the US. Today's eMigr8 Open Day will focus on the United States of America. You're welcome. Even if you're an absolute beginner in the room, this session is also for you. Because during this session today, we will also talk about how you can find your way to, first of all, becoming a tech founder, and then you can use your new status as a tech founder to move to the US over a period of time as a beginner. But if you're already a tech founder in the room, you've already raised your seed round, maybe your Series A round, you are probably already an individual with extraordinary ability. And so when we're talking about the visa, because the visa used to be called the visa for aliens with extraordinary ability, but renamed to individual with extraordinary ability, do not discount yourself to say they are not talking about you. Because even if you do not qualify today, we believe that you can qualify in the future. And we will be sharing the roadmap, the pathway for you to get there to you if you're a beginner. But if you're already a tech founder, then this is also for you because our coach in the house will be talking to us about some of the things that you can do to find your way and move your company to the US. You're welcome to this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. eMigr8 focuses on tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. That is our focus on the eMigr8 platform. And so we will not be talking about other types of visas. There are several different visa opportunities out there. We are 100% for now focused on tech visa opportunities. You're welcome again. For those just joining us, please let us know that you can hear us on the chat and also let us know that you can see my screen. Today's edition, I will start by just sharing a few information about what eMigr8 is and what eMigr8 is not. That's where we will start from. And then I will be handing over to our coach today, Salami, who is going to then talk us through that visa pathway that we've talked about on the flyer, which is the move to the US as a tech founder. We will also share with you how you can start building your own tech startup with an opportunity within the Bincom Dev Center ecosystem called Labs by Bincom. It would allow you to build a startup from scratch with a team. We will also talk about our new eMigr8 package for the UK, which is settled in the UK as a tech talent. We'll touch on that a little bit. And if you wait till the end of this session, it's a 1.5 hour minimum long session. But if you wait till the end, we do have a gift for you as well. So it promises to be really exciting, and you're welcome to this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. I would just mention that we have several open day videos of several sessions that we have done in the past. We've talked about the US Global Talent Visa, the Australia Global Talent Visa, the UK Global Talent Visa, the UK Innovator Founder Visa, the French Tech Visa, the Australian Visa, Canada Startup Visa, several different visa opportunities for tech talents that we have talked about on this platform. And many of those opportunities, we've got open day videos where we've recorded and talked about them. And those replay videos are available to you as a member of our community at no cost to you. Today's session will focus on the US, and our coach is already in the room, ready to talk to us about that pathway. And I mentioned earlier as well that we will talk a little bit about this package from eMigr8, which is around the settle in the UK as a tech talent later on. We've got several open days coming up this year. that are coming up that we would say look out for. Open days around the UK Innovator Founder Visa, open days around the UK Tech Nation Visa, which is called the UK Global Talent Visa for the field of digital technology. We also have the Canada Startup Visa, the French Tech Visa, and several other visa opportunities that we talk about on the eMigr8 platform. You're welcome. If you are not already in the eMigr8 community, we encourage you to join. eMigr8 community is in multiple social media platforms. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on WhatsApp, we're on Telegram. We encourage you to join the community because there's a lot of interaction that goes on there in terms of questions answered, in terms of opportunities shared, in terms of information shared, inspiration, successes talking about their success, and so on within the eMigr8 community. So we invite you to join if you are not already in that community. What is eMigr8? eMigr8 focuses on helping you to become globally attractive. That's what we do on the eMigr8 platform. We believe that if you are globally attractive, you will have options of different visas from all over the world. Now, the reason why these visa opportunities are available is because many forward-thinking countries of the world have seen that technology talent and talent generally is the new oil. If they can attract the right talents into their economy, they know that their economy will be better off. And that's the reason why the visa opportunities, many of the ones we talk about on this platform, that's the reason why they are available. Because if you can show yourself as a talent, if you can show yourself as globally attractive, you would have options of different visas of the world. And that's what eMigr8 then helps you to become. To say, we will help you become globally attractive. We would help you do that by different means, including our information session, our inspiration sessions, open day sessions, such as this one you're attending today, or watching the replay video for those of us watching the replay video. We do several different services just to help you become globally attractive. We're able to help with preliminary assessment of your qualification status. We're able to help you with a roadmap of how you can get to being qualified for this visa opportunity or several others that we talk about on the platform. We can help you with a hand-holding of you need somebody to handhold you through the entire journey. That is also available on the platform. For example, with the UK Global Talent Visa, if you're trying to submit an application and you need somebody to help you take a look at the application, a second pair of eyes, if you may, we are able to help with that. If you're looking for endorsement review, you submitted your application, you got rejected, and you're looking for a second opinion to say, what can I do to qualify over a period of time? Or what can I do in terms of my endorsement review? We are able to help as well. eMigr8 does not offer legal advice, neither do we offer immigration advice. We do have lawyers and immigration consultants who we partner with. So if you need that kind of service, that is available. We can refer you to them, but that's not our forte on the eMigr8 platform. That's not our niche. Our niche is to help you become globally attractive so that you then qualify for those visa opportunities. In terms of our services, we do most of the things that we do on the platform. We actually do it at no cost to you. We do them free of charge. And so on the free side, we have things like our information and inspiration sessions. We've got the eMigr8 community that I mentioned earlier. We've got the monthly open day, introductory videos, visa-specific office hours, and even short inquiry sessions, which are one-to-one sessions that you can have on the eMigr8 platform. With the short inquiry session, the one-to-one session, our advice is take a look and use all the other free services that are available first before you do the one-to-one session. The reason is because we can only accommodate one-to-one session per individual at the moment on the eMigr8 platform for free. What that means is that come prepared for those sessions. If you are talking to a coach, ensure that you are making the best use of your time when you are talking to a coach. Don't go to that session and ask questions that you can easily Google. Don't go to that session and ask questions that you could have done and you could have just simply taken a look at an open day video. Go to that session asking personalized questions because no two individuals are the same. And so even though on this session, we will give general information, if you need more specific about you as an individual, then you may need those one-to-one sessions. And so we're saying, please make the best use of the one-to-one session and make the best use of the coach's time when they do those one-to-one sessions. Many of the coaches on the platform are actually just giving out their time to help other people on the platform. That's what eMigr8 is building. We're building a connecting platform to connect people that know to people that need to know about these information around being globally attractive. On the premium side, we do have a number of things that we also do charge for. Most of the things we do are free, but we do have a few things that we charge for as well. The eMigr8 Circle, for example, which is a premium community. We have personalized coaching sessions, which are paid. We do have packages as well on the eMigr8 platform. Some of our packages, we've got a package around the UK Global Talent Visa, which is the move to the UK as a global talent. It's a package that helps you end-to-end for the UK Global Talent Visa. We've got the move to the US as a global talent package, and this is the one we are focusing on during today's edition of eMigr8 Open Day. We've got move to Canada as a startup founder, and that focuses on the Canada Startup Visa. It's a package that is available. If you're interested in that journey, you can talk to us on the eMigr8 platform. We've got also the option of move in 2024, and then we're looking at multiple countries, and depending on your circumstance, we determine which country, which visa that you can target. This is also available to you. And then we've got the settle in the UK as a tech talent. It's a combination. It focuses on multiple visa opportunities at the same time. So UK Global Talent, UK Skilled Worker Visa, UK Innovator Founder Visa, focuses on all of these at the same time. And this is one of the packages we have at the moment on the eMigr8 platform that offers the eMigr8 triple guarantee. What that means basically is we earn most of our fee only upon your success. eMigr8 community, these are the links. You can take a look at it. eMigr8 is a part of and is incubated by a company called Bincom Dev Center. And I'll just talk to you briefly about some of the other services of Bincom Dev Center. And then I'll be handing over the baton to our coach today, who will be taking us through that ride around move to the US as a tech founder. One of the services is the Bincom Global Tech Program. With the Bincom Global Tech Program, the focus is to help you to learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure in the field of technology. If you're an absolute beginner in the field of technology, this program is for you. Because what this program does is it will take you through that journey from the absolute beginner level up until the point where it will land you at the intermediate level in the field of technology. It's a 1 to 2 years program, landing you at the intermediate level. You could also use this program if you're at the intermediate level in the field of technology and you realize that you don't have the right experience or maybe the right exposure for you to get to your next level. The Global Tech Program is for you. We've got a version of the program that is just for 3 months. And for the 3-month program is a subset of the fuller Global Tech Program. But for this one, it focuses on getting you from one stage to the next within a 3-month period. And that's also available on the Bincom Dev Center platform. For those of us that are highly advanced in the field of technology, we are asking that you consider mentoring. You will find out that one of the ways in which you can attract these visa opportunity we are talking about today is by mentoring, judging in hackathons, putting yourself out there, speaking at events and things like that, being visible in public relations, in the media, and so on in your career as an expert in the field. And so we're inviting you to apply to mentor on the Bincom mentoring platform. It is highly competitive, so we are not able to select everyone that applies, but the link is there. You can apply to mentor on the Bincom mentoring platform. And if you're selected, fantastic. That becomes part of your evidence of being globally attractive. The link is bincom.net/mentor registration. bincom.net/mentor registration. You can use that for part of your journey of becoming globally attractive. The next one I'll talk about is Labs by Bincom. And because we're going to spend some time talking about Labs by Bincom today, I'll just give you a short snippet to say it will help you to become a startup founder. So if you're an absolute beginner in the room and you're looking at becoming a startup founder, you may want to take a look at Labs by Bincom, because what Labs by Bincom would do for you is to enable you to become a startup founder very quickly. But we'll spend some time talking about this during today's edition of eMigr8 Open Day. Tech Career Coaching. We will also help you if you're looking at landing your next role fast, including roles that comes with a certificate of sponsorship. This is only available in the UK for now, but we are working really hard to expand this to many other countries. With our Tech Career Coaching service, we help you to land that next role faster by helping you to build the relevant experience in your target country, including things like connection to technical recruiters and helping you land those roles that do come with work sponsorship. If you're interested in that, you can let us know or click on the link. This just gives you a quick layout of the land. Now, for some of us, you may want to take a screenshot of this slide, because this gives you a layout of the land, talks about the different visa opportunities that are available. The one we're going to be talking about today is the US O1 visa. That's what we'll focus on, but we will talk about many other pathways as well during the conversation. It's for individuals with extraordinary ability, and it falls under the US and talent option. So you don't absolutely it falls under the US. So Salami is going to talk a lot about that today. So I'll just leave that to him. But just to mention that there are several tech-enabled visa opportunities that are out there for many different countries. And we split it on the eMigr8 platform into different categories: the startup ones, the ones around talent, the ones around work and employment based, the ones that are temporary and digital nomad visas, and others as well. There is a lowest common denominator for all these visa opportunities. If you are globally attractive, you have options. If you are able to show that you are globally attractive in your own select field of technology, you will have options. And those are those options that we are working with you on to be able to identify and be able to target your profile towards attracting those options. For us at the eMigr8 platform, we currently focus on visa opportunities that has a pathway to settlement. A pathway to settlement could be an indirect pathway to say you can go on the O1 visa and then later translate to EB1, EB2 visa, or it could be a direct pathway to settlement like the UK Global Talent Visa. But we focus on pathways that has a pathway to settlement, pathways where you can move with your family, and pathways where you are a beginner in the room can plan and say over a period of time, I'm able to land this visa opportunity if I do the right things. For many of the visa opportunities, we focus on them in terms of we do in-depth open days focused on the visa opportunity. So 1.5 hour session talking about that opportunity, giving you as much information as possible. And so if you're interested, do go check our community, and you'll find links to many of those open day videos. Many of our coaches have shared a lot of gem of information that you wouldn't find elsewhere. And they've shared from their experience. They've shared things that you can't easily Google because this was their own unique circumstance and journey. But you can learn from that journey. And that's part of the reason why we do these open days. And that's part of the reason. The eMigr8 tech visa landscape is also available. With the tech visa landscape, what it is that we've looked at the entire journey and looked at the entire ecosystem, and we've come together with this landscape. It's available to you, and what you want to do is take a look at it and may be useful to you. With the landscape, it helps you to see what are the visa opportunities, how can I qualify, what do I need to qualify, what do I need to be able to take the next step, what do I need to do as a beginner, can I move with my family, what budget should I be looking at, and so on. What are the official guides about this particular visa opportunity? All of that is available on the eMigr8 tech visa landscape. And that's part of what is available to you within the eMigr8 community. If you don't yet qualify, do not be discouraged. because part of why we do these open days is to help you see what you can do today to start planning. And we will talk a little bit about that during this edition of the eMigr8 Open Day as well. After Salami's session, after a bit of question and answer, we'll talk about what you can do if you are not yet a tech founder. Today's session, we are focused on move to the US as a tech founder. And we're going to be calling our coach today up in 30 seconds or so. Salami, are you still there? Right. And Salami is going to be talking to us on that topic. He was going to be sharing from his own journey, but he will also be sharing the opportunities that exist for you today. One of the things I would say to you is that sometimes these opportunities are not there forever. So don't say that this opportunity is there today, it would always be there. What you should be doing is that start planning. If you already qualify and this is something you want to do, take action immediately. But then also ensure that you get as much information as possible. With this open day, there's a lot of information available to you. But then there's also a lot of information available in public domain. And then if you need a little bit of help, eMigr8 is available to help you. eMigr8 coaches are there to help, and many of them are contributing and volunteering their time to be able to help. If you need additional help, that may fall under the premium services, and you may have to pay for that. But the point is that these opportunities are there for you, and we hope that you make the best use of it. And so I'll be calling Salami up now, who is going to be talking to us about move to the US as a tech founder. If you have questions, please drop it in the chat. And as I mentioned earlier, if you wait till the end of this session, we do have a gift for you. Over to you, Salami.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're, well, good evening from Lagos, where I am at the moment. And I hope we're all having a good time. I will probably have this session be more of a question session than just talking, so that we can address specific points from people. In the meantime, just to do a quick introduction of myself, what I do, and why Bade has asked me to be a guest on the program today. My name is Salami, and I think over the last 15 or so years, I've had a very deliberate, I've made deliberate efforts to develop my passion as a venture builder and to, spend most of my time solving problems I'm excited about by building companies to solve those problems. I think just to give you a bit of, trajectory of my journey, most people know me as the founder of Ribi, which is very essential to our conversation today. Ribi.ng, which is a fintech platform, a cooperative management platform, which is what we started with. In our efforts to create prosperous communities, we wanted to start with, a community that we know was already designed for that objective. But to dial back a little before then, because my journey did start then, in 2009, 10, 11, thereabout, I worked a bit in management consulting. Then in 2000 between 10, 12 and 10, 11, 12 and 13, I spent a bit of time in a media company, which was a fantastic experience for me. I was head of business development and technology at Doyok. And then I did a bit of technology then at work. I actually tried to do technology before then, but I sort of oversaw, a plan to roll out a media distribution system here in Nigeria. And then fast forward, I fully got into tech, which I've always wanted to just like go all in. I think the first website I built, well, I tried to code, but I stopped being a software developer. So good news for all the non-software developers in the room, which I think is probably 80% of the people here. If you are not a software developer, please just wave. There should be an icon. If you're a software developer, we love you, but sorry. Today is not your shine. Today is for us non-tech people. But I built the first software-related application. That's from Chevron. I built the first non-software-related application in 2006, 7. Then, anyways, my first real full end-to-end tech product build when I fully wanted to get into tech was in 2013, which is when we kind of started building UD. But we paused. I joined a technology company, a full-fledged technology company called Venture Garden Group through their accelerator program called GIB at the time, now called Greenhouse Labs. And then run by Venture Garden Group, they wanted to launch their power business. So I joined that for a bit. Was supposed to be for a short, less than 1 year period. It ended up being for 3.5 years, where I managed the power automation business. So there we were, the private sector, the Nigerian power sector had just been privatized. And we needed to automate how we measure. You have meters in your house, like from a Keja Disco or a Code Disco or any of those parties. But there are 13, distribution customers at the national grid level, and there are several other participants, like the people that generate the power. Anyways, long story short, you needed to measure how much energy was being generated, track the distribution, measure how much was getting to the last mile, and then settle all the participants, right? So the same way you are paying your distribution company for supplying you power, and the utility company also needs to pay the grid, where they got the power from. So I led the team that built the technology platform that was used to sort of automate that process in the early days, some over 10 years ago. We built the command center and so on and so forth. It was a super exciting experience for me. Thanks to my wonderful Egmont, the founder of Venture Garden Group, Demola Bumi and Kumi. And then went on to do the same thing for a co-distribution company, which we did their automated meter reading. So this was a lot of both, software engineering as well as hardware IoT type, engineering and coupling of things. And it was super exciting because I had not gone that deep into hardware and software before, albeit from a business side, but also thinking across the engineering. For example, thinking of something as simple, making something as complex as tracking streetlights in the entire state of Lagos, and boiling all that down to something as simple as an SMS to the phone number of the head of streetlights for Lagos State, with the Lagos State Electricity Board. To say, okay, you get an SMS on your phone if the street light is not on, or how many street lights are on, how many are off, and just thinking through the entire landscape from both the hardware engineering to the software engineering to sort of like the human interface of how do you convert all this engineering into simple applicable product. And I'm happy to take any of this case, something as complex as, well, not so complex, but exciting as this, and how we boiled it down to something as simple as an SMS. Anyways, fast forward to 2017, 16, 17, and finally started our first company, which is sort of how I got into doing my O1 visa in the first place. And now, from that first company, I'm now very focused on building out our venture studio. We like to call it the Indie Venture Studio, where we have overall about 10 companies in the studio that we've invested in over the years, but 3 or 4 that I'm actively working with. Things as exciting as automating benefits management for millions of people. One of our platforms crossed 1 million users this week, I think, or last week. I don't run any of those, lucky for me. So something as non-sexy as selling meat, right? We have a meat business where we have a slaughterhouse and we slaughter hundreds of cows, hundreds of animals, and we put about thousands of animals every year and bring it to your house, or where we build homes, for people everywhere. Anyways, doing exciting things between using technology to automate processes to actual physical things like building a house or selling meat. That's what I do, and I love it. I love it so much. I've been excited every day for most of the last 7 years, but especially in the last 2-3 years, doing my venture building work. But yeah, today is not about me; it's more about you guys. So, just kind of giving you my background, as it were. My journey from my own country to So I mean, for me, I think it's been a thing for many years. I don't know, I've been to, I don't know, maybe 10 countries. I love to travel. It helps me discover more places, discover how things are better done in many places. But my final, I've been to India, I've been to China multiple times, I've been to the UK, I've been to the US, I've been to Dubai multiple times. I just love traveling to learn how things are done better in many places. Also because it helps you, sort of connect with other people and get what we need done in making Nigeria a better country or just making the world a better place. But for me, the final sort of ginger came in 2019, 2020. I've been going to the US now for maybe about 8 years or so. And I think watching the movie Star Trek, a particular series, Star Trek, I'm sure you know it. I've seen it before. I've seen different, editions of it. But there was this particular edition, and I was just fascinated as to how they go into so many worlds, discovering the world of the Klingons and the Vulcans and so on and so forth, and using a lot of science to advance, in quotes, human consciousness or just general consciousness, as my good friend Elon would like to put it. And literally saying, hey, I'm going back to my own country, right? There was no limitation as to, the starship, well, we call it USS Discovery or USS Enterprise. Those were like the spaceships that they were using to travel around the universe. And it was exciting for me. And the idea of, I'm going to my own country. I've been on the road for 4 or 5 years or whatever it is, exploring and making the universe, the galaxy better. And now I'm going to my own country. Then it dawned on me. I'm like, so we seem to think that we have to be stuck in one place, and there's no reason for that. You can decide to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to go do my business for the next 3 years in this new place. That new place can be Kenya. That new place can be, you live in Lagos now, you decide to go to Kano. That new place can be China. And probably to my Igbo brothers and sisters, my Ogos, I'm married to Igbo. And it could just be any of these places. It could be Spain, and you make that place better with the work you do. And that might be connected or not connected to your own country or the work you do in your own country. But that's just where your work needs to be at that time. I think that realization for me was the background to, exploring the O1 visa. And I'm like, you know what? It's important for me to be able to establish our relationships and our connections, access to venture capital, access to technology partners, and so on and so forth, especially in the US and in other countries. So I decided to, do the O1 visa then, thanks to my good friend, Simeon of Thank You Cash, who first had this conversation with me. And there was this thing about, Nigerians liking to hoard information, not wanting to share and, let other people know how these things are possible. So, personally, that didn't make any sense. Personally, I think that we should be creating opportunities that help make both ourselves, our community, our family, and our entire country, continent, and the world a better place by giving more people access to things that help them succeed or help them progress. So that was what led to me personally wanting to explore the O1 route. And funny thing is that this information is freely available online. If I share my screen now.
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, so please confirm you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, buddy?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Great. So information is just freely available online. You go to the US government website, that's the uscis.gov, United States Citizen and Immigration Services. You find a ton of information that you need to know, right? We're going to be speaking about 2 specific ones today. My visa application journey, just to say that briefly, it was longer than it should have been, which was because I didn't give it as much time and attention as I should have given it. But the typical process should take anywhere between 1 to 3 months. 1 month if you're stuff here, you're already ready to go and all the things are ready. You just need to kind of put them together. 3 months if you kind of need to still work on putting everything together to apply. And you're applying in the US, not in Nigeria. It's not has nothing to do with the at least the petition process itself has nothing to do with the embassy here in Nigeria in Lagos. It's all with the US government, USCIS in the US. And you can do it yourself, but most people prefer to have someone who has experience, sometimes a legal professional, to do it for them, right? But like I said, all the information are freely available online. These are all just literally, I just said O1 visa, USCIS, and a bunch of information will come out, right? All of these tabs I have open here, I didn't need to know them. All I needed to do was go online and just search, and you will just find, oh, well, this is ours. Let me put it this way. And we've seen eMigr8, which is our partner, and it's all there, literally. So we're going to speak briefly about the O1A and the EB1. Now, the O1 is the, what you call the, I hope this thing is not blocking my screen for you guys. Let me see.
No, we see your screen clearly.
Yeah, okay. Only blocking for me. All right, I've been able to move it. 1 minute. Okay, good. So the O1 visa is individuals with extraordinary abilities or achievement. Again, this is not legal advice. I'm here as a guest of eMigr8 and guest to you guys, just sharing my own personal experience. I'm telling you that this is exactly sort of how it worked for me and hundreds of other people, a number of whom I know pretty well. And the O1 visa specifically is a non-immigrant visa. So if you see here, the O1 non-immigrant visa is for individual who possesses extraordinary abilities. So individual with extraordinary abilities, sometimes you might see it as alien with extraordinary abilities or person with extraordinary abilities. It's the same thing. Individual with extraordinary abilities, you are alien because you're not a resident or citizen of that country. So you're alien to that country, not alien from space, right? So individuals with extraordinary abilities or achievements, who possess abilities in sciences, in the arts, education, business, or athletics, or who has demonstrated record of extraordinary achievements in the motion picture or television industry and has been recognized nationally or internationally for those achievements. So you have been recognized and you are an exceptional person. You are a hard worker. You qualify in sciences, arts, education, business, athletics, motion picture, and so on and so forth. So even a musician, for example, qualifies, as long as they're not, they're bedroom musicians, it's great. They're still coming up with when you have been recognized and you have done these exceptional things, but a broad range of areas. So, founders, for example, qualify under the business space. If you're a professor or you have advanced degrees, masters and so on and so forth, that also qualifies as ownership or form. I'm not going to dive so much into like all of the details. Now I will mention requirement. Okay, so let me just touch briefly on some of the. So that's the O1 visa. I'm going to touch briefly on the EB1 as well. And I think that there's a lot of people who don't just want to go and do their business and be able to. The O1 has very limited restrictions, very little to no restrictions. You can go in and out of the US as you need to. Once you are, once you've been approved, and you've gotten your petition approval, which lasts for 3 years, and you can renew that every year subsequently, so up to year 6, 4 year, 5 year 6. It's not a easy process. It requires some diligence. It's not cheap. Most places you find on most websites that you have an average budget of $10,000. I think I saw in one of these places for you to be able to do the O1. Again, if you apply by yourself, there's nothing wrong in doing that, but most people have someone help them, maybe a lawyer or someone who knows how to do it. I find there's somewhere I saw an average of $10,000, sometimes more. Depends on sort of how you have gone about the process. But it's a non-immigrant visa. It's mostly because you just want to go do your business in the US and of course, obey all the rules and laws and taxes and so on and so forth. But there's also the employment-based immigration, which is literally wanting to move to the US and be a permanent resident. Just to clarify or to show you what I mean. If you see here, you see temporary workers, right? So the O1, so there's so many categories that you can go on USCIS website to read it. USCIS, right? But maybe you could help me maybe I can just drop these links here so that people
Yeah, the team
can
will
pick them
drop the
up.
links on the chat, or you can also drop it. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So easy. This is the official website of the US government. So all the information you see there is the accurate authority information, but there are a bunch of other websites you can also find information. And you already have eMigr8 also there to help you. And just so that I don't forget or I don't get distracted, we could also book a session with Pacifa, which is an eMigr8 partner, and we could also figure out how to help you. But yeah, going back to this, right? If you see this link, this list here, this is the temporary workers visa, right? There are different categories. There's a particular category for, yes, H2B, H1B, sorry, H2A, H2B, agricultural workers, right? That's H1A. There's a company that I know, there's a program run by, it's called Dial Ventures, something digital innovation in agriculture, run by Indiana University, Purdue University in Indiana in the US. And they run a program where they select 6 founder level professionals, 3 in tech, 3 in business. At one point, I wanted to join. I was 7 on the list. I didn't get the top 3. And what they do is they take you through a 6-month program and then give you, after the 6 months, they take you around the US, you study the agricultural industry in the US, and then you start a company. So 3 companies are founded from the cohort twice a year, each of the cohorts. And the 3 companies they found companies in the agriculture sector. Now, one of the companies that came out of the sector, literally, they invest $1 million for the program. If you guys succeed, they pay you something during the cohort, and then they invest $1 million in that business that you guys started. It's a venture studio, right? Which is supposed to be a runway for 18 months. One of the companies that came out of that studio, which they're very excited about, some of the founding managing partners of the studio were telling me that, literally the company could have refunded their $1 million to them after 18 months because they did so well. What were they doing? They built a solution to helping, agricultural businesses in the US who need temporary short-term workers to manage the entire process. As a company, you just want to have your people come work for you. And it so happens that you need, at certain seasons in the year, you need more workers on your farms and your agro businesses in the US, right? You don't want to have to worry about the process of visa and so on and so forth. So they focus on solving that problem for US companies, and they did 5,000. I don't know how many they did, but I think they got to $5 million of revenue in the first year, just helping people who are qualified to take up temporary work in the US. That's the H2A agricultural workers category. So there's just so many things you can explore. This is the temporary workers. And then there's the permanent worker, which is the O1 fall under the temporary worker. You can see here, individuals with extraordinary abilities or achievement. So you can study all the other things, and you might even see things that you qualify for that is not the O1, right? And then for permanent worker, which is where the EB1 comes under, you see it all here as well. So there's so many pathways and so many options for people to become global with their talent, as opposed to feeling limited in any way, shape, or form. But please remember, if you're Nigerian or if you're Ghanaian or if you're Kenyan, it's important to also remember your own country. Remember my story around the USS Discovery and USS Enterprise, flying into the galaxies, but from time to time, their best talent going back home to explore their own country and make it better, because that's the only way. We're not going to export 200 million people out of Nigeria, right? Last statistic I saw that the largest population of Nigerians outside of Nigeria is in the US, and it's less than 1 million people, right? So we're not going to export 200 million people anyway. We have to make Nigeria a better place, but there's nothing stopping each and every one of us who can from, doing our business, exploring, different parts of the world where we can make impact, and also then contributing, that experience, that, value created back to Nigeria as we make Nigeria a better place. I'm a pro-Nigerian, as I'm also a pro-global person. Now, back to O1. I want to talk about the 8 requirements. I'm looking for the best things to find out for you. Okay, let me use this. Now, there are 8 requirements that you need to, I'm looking for which of these links. And I'm intentionally using, like open source websites so that you guys don't think that we have any specialists. We don't have any specialists. It's all freely available information online. Now, I think this list is good. In order to successfully receive the O1 visa for entrepreneurs and startup founders, you should meet at least 3 of the following 8 criteria. At least 3 of the 8, right? Meet 3 of 8, but I advise you meet 5 of 8, right? Just so your chances are more. And it's a back and forth process. They would, if you submit and they feel something is not complete, they'll ask you more questions. And all of that process costs money, right? So you want to put in your best application at the first time. It's not like they'll be billing you every time they ask a question, but having to send mail and things like that could also cost money. Now, those 8 requirements are: first, national and international award, membership in prestigious association. I wish this thing was arranged in such a way that, yes, I would like to start with number 8. Yes, number 8 is what shows at least for you yourself, your extraordinary ability. Critical role in distinguished organization or event, right? So why are you a person with extraordinary abilities, right? What have you done? Oh, you built this amazing tech product that has helped 1 million people or 5,000 people, or, helped, like my very good friend, Timmy built Life Bank and helped save lives by supplying blood, oxygen, and so on and so forth very quickly to people. Whatever it is, you built something that helps make life better, and you are a critical part of that process, right? Critical role in distinguished organization or events. That's criteria number 1. Number 2, judge other people's work. For me, so my scenario for critical role is the company that I built. Judge other people's work. I've been a judge at a number of programs. Guess what? When I was doing all of this, I was just being me. I wasn't thinking about O1 visa. Right? These are things that I'd done way before I knew anything about the O1 visa. Right? In fact, all the things that I submitted, I'd done them before I knew anything about the O1 visa. Right? So it just so happens that, just putting yourself in a place that makes the world a better place positions you as an extraordinary person around the world. Thankfully, the US recognizes that. So I'd been a judge on Wema Bank's Alcoholics, which is like their own accelerator type demo day program for generally tech startups, but I think mostly for tech. I've been a judge for FSI. I've been a judge for a bunch of programs where I was invited to judge other people's work, right? Number 3, I'm reading from number 8, by the way, because I like that order. So don't get confused. It's the same 8 list everywhere. Number 6 is high salary and remuneration, right? It's good to be well paid. So please work hard, but also ensure you're well paid, because specifically for the US, I think the US is the US is built on hard work and economic success. So they want to see that is reflected in your work and your life as well. Let me put it that way. And US does not play with their money, right? So if you get what I mean. Number 5, publish scholarly articles. So original contribution of major significance. I'm not sure what I did for that number 4. But there was, and then some of these things sometimes confuse me, but I mean, that's where it's good to get help. Your lawyer or someone helping you with the petition will have more experience and be able to guide you through that process. So public scholarly articles, I think there was a publication I did. I made a presentation on effective delivery or effective use of technology for financial inclusion, which I delivered at one of FINA's events. FINA is enhancing financial innovation and access, funded by Gates Foundation and the UK BFID. And I went into elaborate detail as to, for example, what makes financial inclusive products trusted. And I'm glad that if you reflect that today, 80% of the things that I said there, which was like 5 years ago, is literally what's happening now. With, for example, Money Points. Like they literally did everything that I said well. Like, for example, let it be cheap, let it work as it says it will work. Like they don't have the luxury of trying it 5 times before trusting it. If it doesn't work first time, second time, they abandon it, and so on and so forth, right? Original contribution of major significance. I think let me see. I want to talk original contribution. You have invented something original that impacted your field. So maybe so let me clarify the two. You see, that's number one, which is number 8 here. Critical role in decision organization. That's like your role. Maybe as CEO, what you do, things you do in that organization, and you being able to demonstrate that role. Whereas number 4, original contribution of major significance, is maybe you've invented something. Say, for example, when I was doing that the power project I told you about 10 years ago. Imagine that I invented the metering systems that we used to gather the data. That would be, sort of an original contribution of major significance. Major press media coverage. For me, I'd been featured on Guardian. I've been featured on how we made it in Africa, and so on and so forth. There's a friend of mine I usually tease. I said, he has everything he needs, especially in media. All he needs now is money. He had been featured on CNN, he had been featured on BBC. But if you go to CNN, I won't mention his name. You go to CNN, you see him jogging on Lekki Road, being featured on CNN. So that's example of a major media, major press and media coverage. And then membership in prestigious association. So, for example, you've been in Y Combinator or Techstars, which is what a lot of Nigerian founders who get in. And I have a lot of my friends who've been to those programs, and they refuse to tell us all these things, but thanks to eMigr8, Pacifica, and so many other people who are making this public. But being a member of those type of organizations is also very vital. And it could be that maybe a member of CIBN in Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, which is a reputable organization. It might be that you're a member of the World Economic Forum Youth Leaders Council or something viable. I've been a member of the Alibaba eFound United Nations, so UNCTAD, the United Nations Clinical Trade and Development. I think Conference on Trade and Development. So UNCTAD, Alibaba eFounders Fellow, I was a part of that. Other people would have been a part of that, like GB of Flutterwave, Carbon has been a part of that, DSL has been a part of that, Tribal Group has been a part of that, and so on and so forth. I was also a part of Google's first accelerator for Africa. I was also a part of Village Capital, and a few others. And then lastly, national or international award, a number of awards. Maybe I can show you guys some of those. This was an award I got in East Africa. This was literally a month before Corona. I was, second runner up for celebration of outstanding social entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. The IntelliCap SoundCap Forum in East Africa. So many awards that myself or my team has gotten. We got something for Digital Champions for Belgium 2019. This is another one here. This was in India, interestingly. Maybe finalist at the Global Startup Challenge, FinTech, 20th of April 2018 in Delhi. Right? You can see that as well. And a bunch of other ones that are there. So I had a bunch of those awards as well. National and international awards that I've received. So those are the 8 requirements. You're actually only required to meet only three of these 8 to be able to apply. So if you think you meet 3 of these 8, please drop Buddy a message. Himself and I will book a session and see how we can help you get through that journey. Some tips for people looking to apply for visa pathway: incentive visa requirement and kind of happy to meet requirement, happy to go and go back to. Again, if you're an hard worker and you think that working out of the US would increase your ability to make the world a better place, to solve exciting problems, then I think you should definitely go for this. I'll start off now, Buddy. I hope I didn't run over my time so that people can ask questions.
Thank you so much, Salami. So I was wondering if you wanted to just talk a little bit about what are the prospects. So we were talking about the O1 visa, and you were going to speak a little bit about the EB1 as well. O1 being non-immigrant, EB1 being immigrant visa. Do you want to speak a little bit about that? And then for the
Yes,
audience,
yeah,
uh, so
yeah.
sorry, Salam. And then for the audience, if you have
Go ahead.
questions, you will not be able to come off mute, but you can drop your questions in the chat. So if you do have questions, please start typing. We won't have time for the open coaching session during this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. And so if you have questions, drop them in the chat. And then Salami, do you want to talk a little bit about the EB1 visa? And then we'll get into the question and answer session.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so for me, I mean, initially, I just wanted to be able to do my business from anywhere around the world, which is why the O1 makes sense. But in some cases, for example, even in my case, you find that eventually you find that you want to be live in the US, you want to permanently work out of the US. That's also great. Again, um, someone asked about restrictions. Yes, there are no restrictions on the O1. You can go in and out of the US as you want. Just remain very lawful and remain very responsible. Don't commit any crime. Um, but for EB1, which is if you want to permanently work in the US, if you do qualify, you would need to spend you cannot be away from the US for more than 5 months, which is what the requirement is for the permanent resident. Again, speak to a lawyer. We're not lawyers to get like proper guidance on this. Now, but your question is to clarify the difference between O1 and EB1. Yeah. So the O1 is a non-immigrant visa. You're not intending to immigrate to the US, right? So if that's your intent, if your intent is not to immigrate to the US, maybe you just have things to do, you need to be going and out, you don't want the restrictions of B1, B2. Oh, by the way, B1, B2 wait time in Nigeria is like 2 years or more than 12 months or something like that. But for the O1, once you get your petition, which can happen in 2 to 3 months, sometimes it can take longer. It really depends on you. But in terms of the application itself, if you do an expedited visa, which will charge you a little bit more, they charge you. Normal application, I think, is 700. There's a place here where I saw the list of prices. Again, all of this information are available online, right? You don't need to take my word for it. You can just go online and find out. One I saw that has list of prices. Um, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll find it, but you can find it's like $700 or something for the petition itself. But if you want to expedite it, in which case they will reply you in 15 days, that will cost extra $2,000 or so dollars. Again, don't take my word for it. Go online and search. All the information is freely available online. Right. So if you do the O1, it's a non-immigrant, so you're not intending to go and live in the US. I mean, you can be in the US for as long as you want. Nobody will stop. You can literally live in the US for 3 years on an O1 visa and not go anywhere if you don't want to. Nobody's going to disturb you for anything. But it's a non-immigrant and they're not immigrating to the US. They're just walking out of the US because they have a need to do that. But the EB1 is an immigrant visa, right? So there's also nothing stopping you from doing the O1 first, ensuring maybe you just want to be there for a bit. And if you so decide in the future, but not yet, in the future you then want to move to an EB1, then that's a different application in itself, different intent, different purpose. But for this, that's like the two major differences between the O1 and EB1, just to keep things very simple.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Salami. And you can stop sharing your screen now. So we will get into the question and answer session at this point. And you've talked a lot about your journey. You've talked about some of the items that you used in terms of to fulfill the criteria. You've talked about the O1 visa itself and all. But one of the question is how difficult was the journey in terms of gathering those evidence together? I know you've mentioned that those evidence themselves were things that you had without necessarily having planned to have them or anything like that. But how difficult was it to gather those specific evidence in your case?
I mean, I had some. I mean, it was our company, right? Oh yes, there was one part I forgot to mention, which I think you can search online. Let me see if I can just get my screen very quickly. So you need for O1 you need a sponsor. What's that? Obtaining a O1 visa as a Nigerian self-founder, no, not this. the role of sponsors or agents in O1 visa process. So in my case, our company needed to do a lot of things in the US. So my company was my sponsor, as it were, right? I'm a co-founder and shareholder in the company, but I report to a board, right? So the company was a sponsor, but you can also be sponsored by an agent in the US. The sponsor is like the employer of record, as it were, in the US, who is sponsoring your petition to come and work in the US. It's not hard to get that. I mean, again, Badi has explained that we have free coaching that that will guide through some of that process. But the question was, how easy was it? Like, because our company had, we had teams. I was lucky that I had people to help me with sort of compiling all of those things. But it's not impossible for you to also do it yourself. And it's also possible to have, eMigr8 or Pasipa sort of help you in that process. But the qualification itself, you are the one that has to earn all of those qualifications.
All right. Thank you for that. And I'm seeing questions in the chat as well, so I'll go to the chat. We do have a question from the community. Let me start with that one. And as we've said, this is not immigration advice. This is not legal advice. This is us sharing our experience, right? We have a question in the community, and I think we'll segue into a couple of questions. The question is, what's the best and fastest way to integrate into the American system? Is it by getting a job or schooling or as a tech startup founder? So this person has three options. Getting a job in the US, schooling, tech startup founder. And so the question was, what's the one that they should be focusing on? Let me put it that way, from your perspective.
I mean, it really depends on the person in question. So book a session with Barry, and it'll be easy to give you a more deliberate answer to knowing you better. But again, if, for example, you want to go do your master's in the US, why not? There's student loan, there's so many things to help you. America is such a great place that helps everybody succeed. The American dream, right? It's not that straightforward, but if you're willing to work hard, any of this route is good. You can also get employment. You can, for example, get employed by Google or Microsoft or really, any company that is authorized to employ someone in the US and issue what we call the H-1B visa, right? For you to come work with them in the US. And you can also be a tech founder. You can do an O1 or EB1 or any of those employment-based immigration, national interest waiver, as it is called. So it really depends on your individual circumstance and, how hard you are willing to work for it. So, but I saw a question here that caught my attention. Is there a
Yeah, we're
company that's
going to come to all the questions.
No, like in O1 specifically, you need to work hard first and be qualified. Don't look for there's no shortcut to O1. That the UK strategy, sourcing for what do they call that thing? Proof of funds. No, doesn't work in this scenario at all. Yeah, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to come to many of the questions in the chat anyway, right? But just to go back to that question, just to make sure that we close on that question before we move on, is just to mention that depending on the individual circumstance will determine what you should be focusing on. But you want to also be looking at what is your end goal. If your end goal is for settlement, you want to look at what are the options that are best for you to be able to settle. If your option is you want to go for maybe additional knowledge and all of that, you want to look at those options as well. So in terms of, is it schooling? Is it getting a job? Is it becoming a startup founder? And then being able to self-petition in the case of EB1, or being able to, right? It would depend on multiple scenarios and the different things that you're looking at doing. Salami, let's talk a little bit to the beginners. So the O1 visa is not for absolute beginners, to say you're a beginner in the field of technology and then you want to just apply for the O1 visa. But is there a pathway for a beginner over a period of time, maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and all of that, for them to be able to qualify for such a visa as the O1 visa?
I take that again.
So I was saying that let's talk a little bit to the beginners. So as there are multiple people in the room, some that are beginners, they've actually not started a journey in the field of technology at all. There are people in the room that are highly qualified immediately. And we're talking to all of these audience in this general session. So I wanted us to talk a little bit to the beginners to say, is it possible for an absolute beginner over a period of time to qualify for the O1 visa? It could be 5 years, it could be 2 years, but what are your thoughts along those lines in terms of a beginner qualifying over a period of time?
Absolutely. And I think that all the things that I know about the US specifically actually encourage you to aspire and work towards wanting to work, and live in the US, in whatever the scenario might be. US rewards effort, US rewards enterprise, hard work, a drive to do exceptional. So yes, you can plan and say, you know what, I don't meet the requirements now, but 5 years from now, maybe I'm 25 or I'm 20 or I'm 35, whatever it is, but 5 years from now, I want to have met all of the requirements and work towards those requirements very painstakingly. I think my transition into full-fledged tech took only about 2 years in the real sense of it, where I went from just being a business person to now I can design almost any tech system end to end, get the engineers the resources to build it, and deliver it to the client. And I've done this to serve millions of users across multiple industries, right? So, but I didn't start that way. I started, I graduated as anybody else with a first degree, and I do have an MBA, or well, yes, in that sense, I have an MBA from the University of Lagos, but that had nothing to do with my O1 in that sense, right? So I didn't need more than a first degree to get to a point where I was qualified enough to get into tech or do anything that I wanted to do. I'm not even sure I don't even think that a degree is a requirement. It's not a requirement for even the O1, right? But at least for me, I'm just saying as a baseline, that's the place to start. And then you just go step by step, becoming exceptional. Because remember, individual with extraordinary abilities, like what makes you exceptional? What have you invented that has been used, right? Someone said if you're nominated for an award, sorry, you can't be nominated, you have to have received it, right? You have to have received it. Everything is just, one you've gotten is fine. Nomination is good. And don't go for any of those. I see all sort of things in my email. Someone says, oh, we're nominating you, pay us 500,000 so that you'll be published. No, don't do any of those. Like, they do one search and they see that it's paid award. That's the end. Like, they are not credible. Right? Don't do. Just work hard. People recognize you for your hard work. Just go step by step. And I'm glad that Badi has a program that helps. I'm more focused on venture building, right? So I'm more focused on entrepreneurs who are ready to build their businesses with very minimal support. But thankfully, Badi starts a lot earlier. eMigr8 starts a lot earlier than that, where they're saying, hey, even just as I was at a program a few days ago and I met a bunch of people, someone working in a fisheries agency, someone who is a teller in a bank, someone who is an educator. Guess what they are all studying? Data analytics, and then maybe they can move on to data science via 3MTT. So I went to one of the host companies to talk to them. That's one way to get in, right? And you can literally just start from wherever you are, get into the program like what eMigr8 has, and start learning what you want to do. Find the one that is exciting to you, as a product manager, as a software engineer, as a data analyst, as a software tester. I mean, I'm glad with some of the people that have sort of, finally I'll use Badi's word, coach or inspired to move into full-time tech. I know someone who was a friend of mine who was let's say a human resource person, fresh graduate, human resource and operations analyst, who decided to go into software testing, made one or two calls, got into some training. Now she's earning 5 times what she was earning as a software tester and product manager, right? She can use Postgres and so on and so forth, right? So you literally just have to decide and get into that journey. And don't be in a hurry. There's room for everybody, right? Let's hope that. Anyway, let me stop there.
Yeah, fantastic. A question, and that was for beginners to say you can start planning now. The journey wouldn't necessarily take 5 years. From an eMigr8 perspective, a 1 to 2 year journey is what you would typically be looking at. That's in addition to things that you probably already have in the past. already, looking at some of those things. A question in the chat is around published books, to say, can books published be used as original contributions of significance? Any thoughts towards that?
I suspect so. I suspect so. I mean, if it's good book, good content, and has impacted people, I suspect that, and it was published in a reputable publishing, whatever the case might be, which you can still do, right? Yeah, I suspect it's an original content. Not everybody writes books, so it makes you an exceptional person. What I wrote was not a book; it was a 15-page presentation to a 200 audience, and it was useful.
Yeah, I know you've answered this in the chat, but there's a similar question I'm combining together around the O1 visa. Does the O1 visa allow a person to work in the US without restriction, right? And then the other
no, sorry, if you think about that answer I gave, yes, and the answer is no. You only work for who you have said you want to work for. If you are going on O1 for, anyways, sorry, go ahead. Let you ask your second question.
Yeah, so that's actually where I wanted us to get to, and just to be able to paint the picture around the H1, H1O1, and then the EB1, just to be able to explain that to the audience. And I know this question is probably coming from an intermediate level person in the field of technology. What are your thoughts around the O1 visa? Restrictions in terms of work, restrictions in terms of the things that you can do in the US generally, and restrictions in terms of moving your family to the US?
So restrictions on travel is zero. When you get an O1 visa, you would ideally, if your petition is successful, you will get a physical copy of the petition. I don't have mine here. I will have shown you. It's a paper, 4 pages, page 1, page 2 leaves of paper, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, right? 4 pages. And they'll give you another, copy of it. If you're using an agent, they'll handle that process for you. Once you have that, then you go on the DS-160, the regular DS-160, to apply to get a stamp on your passport. Because that paper, you can't travel with that paper. You can live in the US with it, but you can't travel with it. You still have to get a stamp. You get a stamp, which is an O1 stamp, which you can then use to travel. Once you have that, you can go in and out of the US as you want, legally, following all the laws as you want. There's no restriction. But in terms of who you can work for, that's restricted to what your application was approved for. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to be in the US as stipulated in my application, and then you are now going to do something else. You have to do what you have said you are going to do in the US for an O1 visa specifically. Or you have to change your status if you then need to do something else, or you need to, maybe you say, oh, I'm going to be working in this and this capacity, or in this and this business. And then maybe you then see another opportunity, and it looks exciting. The authorities are willing to listen to something that is great for the US economy. But you have to change your status to be able to do something that doesn't fall under what you are supposed to do. That's restriction in terms of work. In terms of family, once you have an O1, you can bring your spouse and you can bring your kids. They will get what you call an O3. Now, if you are an athlete or you are producing a movie wherein you cannot find somebody in the US to assist you, somebody else can travel with you. I'm also just studying this and understanding this. So if, for example, you are Whiskey and and Thames needs to go and perform Essence with you, that Bade cannot perform that Essence. It's only Thames. So even though Bade is in quote, I don't know if he is, but imagine that Bade is an American and he wants to perform Essence with Whiskey. It's not possible. So if Whiskey gets an O1 visa, Thames can essentially just get an O2 visa on the back of Whiskey's O1 visa, because it's only Thames that can perform, that can be the co-singer with Whiskey on that particular album. And Thames can also even go with her family if she wants. So an O1 can, if in certain restricted spaces where you can prove that that person is required to perform your work with you, get someone else to go with them as an O2. And their family can also go with them as an O3. In most of the scenarios, like my scenario, when I'm here, so my family wants to come, well, they only have to apply once. Anyway, they just apply it as normal, pick O1 O3 instead of B1, B2 in their DS-160 application. went to the embassy. They asked them the question to verify that it's them and they're coming to, be with me in the US. And that's it. In 3 minutes or 5 minutes, the interviewer clarified what they want and we're giving them their O3. But my family is still in Nigeria, even though we intend to going forward, spend more time in the US. I hope I kind of answered that.
Yes, I believe you did. And just to clarify, just for the audience sake, that you can actually subcontract as well. So you can work as a software developer in organizations, and there's actually a way you can do things like that. But you can't say you're moving as a software developer and all of a sudden what you're doing is something totally different, which is what Salami was talking about.
You can have an agent who is your sponsor as supposed to be a company, and that agent can be or an agent that manages software developers. So you can do a software developer for many in that skill as it were, but it has to be clear, and you should try to stay within the bands of whatever you have been approved for, or change what you call a change of status if it's different.
Yeah. I wanted to go to the awards one from a beginner perspective, but just before that one, O1 to if someone were looking at settlement, they likely would need to do an O1 visa to EB1, EB2, or any of those. Would you want to talk a little bit about that for the audience, saying, oh, what I'm looking at is I really want to just move out of my own country. We have audience from Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, and so on the call right now, and I want to move permanently. Is there a route of the O1 to EB2 or O1 to EB1, things like that?
No, I mean,
along those lines for the audience.
Yeah, I mean, the requirements are slightly different, but most times I find, and I'm also learning and experiencing that if you qualify for O1, you probably qualify for EB1 or EB2, right? So why not, just better to just go straight to that, since you already know that you want to, immigrate. For me, it wasn't the case at the time. Just go straight to it. Different EB2 is more, say for example, you have a master's degree and so on and so forth. You qualify for EB2. Yes, good news. You have a master's in information technology. You have a master's in fishery. You have a master's in social studies, right? You qualify for EB2, right? Well, at least you can go and study it. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not the one that set the rules. They're all there. And the difference between EB1 and EB2 is typically that I'm also trying to get a hang of it. And the expert sessions where we'll bring in a lot more experts to speak with you guys will clarify this. But the EB2, the EB1 is more, I think the EB2 have more sort of educational qualification opportunity, whereas the EB1 is slightly different and more sort of on the business side and things like that. But yeah, the differences are not that significant. And if you're sure that what you want to do is just move to the US, and you can do that right from your country, like you don't need to already have been in the US by O1 or anything else. While you're in Nigeria, or you're in Ghana, or you're in Kenya, or you're in Togo, or in Cameroon, or you're in Egypt, you're in UK, or you're in Australia, you can get an EB1, EB2, and once you're approved, move directly to the US as a permanent worker, permanent resident.
Yeah, just to mention to the audience and to the community that we would actually be focusing on the EB2 visa, EB1, EB2 visa in 2 open days time, just about a month from now. We'll be focusing on that specific visa. We're focusing on the O1 visa today. Let's talk about awards, Salami, but this is from a beginner perspective. How can I position myself for international awards? So there's a journey to it, but the question is that how do I position myself? What are the things I can do from an exposure perspective? Part of the reason why I ask is because we are coaching people who are from 3 key pillars: gain skills, gain experience, and then gain exposure in the field of technology. And so a question is, how can I position myself for those kinds of awards? What kind of hard work? You had mentioned that you need to be able to do the hard work. What kind of hard work should I be looking at doing for me to be able to start being visible in my industry and start attracting some of those awards?
So, I like that question. And there was the easiest way to explain that answer is to do a Google search on my niece. I like to call her my niece. My uncle, who is like my mother, I call my uncle, Mr. Yeko Gunubi, has a daughter who I think is now maybe like 20. But when she was like 14, 13, like, this is inspiring. She built a simple app, from all of these school boot camps for tracking kids. Guess what? Now she's one of, I think, 100 every year scholars selected by Eric Schmidt, I think, where they give them funding, they intern in any company in the world that you can think about, Google, and so on and so forth. She has written a book. Let me see if I can LinkedIn profile. She's been featured on BBC and all. I think this was maybe that BBC video or something like that. Yes, this is it. So, I mean, it's not like these things are no rocket science. If Tomisi, by the time Tomisi was 18, if she applied for EB1, she will get it. Maybe not EB1, maybe O1, right? She had probably met like 6 of the requirements by the time she was 18. At that time, Tomisi said, she wanted to build an e-commerce for kids to sell their product. So she came to our company, when she was on holiday, and I attached her to one of our software engineers who was teaching her how to build an e-commerce website. Yes, this is how on BBC. This was when was this video? Which year is this? I don't know if the audio will work. Okay, so it only work for me.
Yeah,
when Tomisi was 12, she built an app to help lost children find help. It has been done 1,000 times. So my point is just find that thing that you want to be exceptional at, and just start doing it and start showcasing it. It like the world we have today is free. Put it on YouTube. Let only 1 view or 5 views. By the time you do it 200 times, you get to a point where people are viewing it more. Just I think find the expression, do your hard work and put it out there. Showcase what you're doing. And before you know what's happening, people will find you. Position yourself for an award. I'm not sure that it's a thing. And maybe Barry has more insights on that. I never positioned for any award. I was just doing what I was doing. And people were messaging me and saying, we like what you're doing. We like to feature you. We like to give you an award. And that's it. So I think just do what you want to do. But please, 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 let people know what you're doing. I said, when you light it, when you put something like a bishop, when you light a candle, let's put it that way. You don't hide it under the table. You put it on the top so that it can provide light, so that the whole world can experience that it can be the salt of the earth, right? People have to taste your salt before they know they are the salt of the earth, right? Otherwise, if you hide it in your kitchen and you don't put it inside the soup, they can't taste it. So do that great work, and showcase it. That's it.
Yeah, so you've given 2 key advice that I think we talk about on our platform very regularly. Be visible and then talk about the things that you're doing. And those are some of the things that could also likely help, because if people don't know what you're doing, then they are unlikely to say, oh, let's look further at what you're doing. Let's talk to the tech founder in the room who is already a YC founder or Techstars or one of those. They already have a startup that has significant traction. They've raised $1 million in funding, and then they're looking at, what can we do in terms of moving at this point, or expanding our startup to the US. Do you have any conversation advice for such a founder? And I see 2 in the room actually, which is why I brought that up.
Yeah, you have qualified. Apply. That's it. It's that simple, So if you bubble back to the requirement, right? I hope I'm opening the right. Yes. So this was Tomisi's book, by the way. I just searched for a book. She wrote a book and it's on Amazon, right? So anyway, so if you want to know, just go and study Tomisi. She's in the university right now. I think her family recently moved to Germany, but she grew up in Nigeria. She went to regular secondary school, primary school in Nigeria, before her mom was tired of Nigeria and decided to move to Germany, and said she's not coming back. And my brother, who works for a major multinational in Nigeria, in a very humble, quiet, very lovely, amazing family, right? Humble, very quiet, Anyways, go and Google Tomisi Ogunubi and do what Tomisi did, and you'll have automatically qualified. But YC folks, you have already qualified. How do I mean? Let me go back to that those 8 requirements. And I mean, for YC founders, I think they get these things for free, or it's almost like part of the package. Where's that list that I was using? No. Yes, this one. I think it's here. So critical role in the civil organization, yes. Membership operation organization, YC. You don't even need to add anything, just put YC. They know you, they know YC, or Techstars, or 500 startup. Great. National international award, I don't know. Have you
It just
collected
occurred to
one?
me that some people on the call may not know. YC is Y Combinator. That's one of the top accelerators in the tech industry for those of us that may
It,
not be.
it is
Yeah.
it is the top, it's not
Techstars,
one of the top accelerators. It is the top
yeah.
accelerator in the world.
Yes, so Techstars, YC, there are quite a number of accelerators, YC being one of the top ones, but the same principle applies for many other accelerators too. Salami, please continue. You were talking about how they qualify, which is where I wanted to
Yeah,
start.
correct. So original contribution of major significance, you have it. Membership registered organization, you have it. Major press and media coverage, most times YC companies are all covered. In fact, if you don't already have major press coverage, it's because you do not want it. Talk to Buddy, talk to me, you get it. YC is automatic for that. Scholarly article, that's your own effort. High salary and compensation, you have it. So you already meet critical role organization 1, high salary 2, original contribution 3, major press and media coverage 4, and membership information. So you already meet like 4 or 5 requirements. If you're a YC funded company, especially the more recent $500,000 option that YC, you already meet quite a number of those requirements. You can literally apply tomorrow. Talk to us.
Fantastic. We'll take the next question, and we're coming towards the end of this section. Right. We'll take the next question, and I'm just going to combine all the questions together because you've spoken to a number of those questions. So I'm just taking them together. It was asking, how did you receive some of the awards? Were you mostly doing conferences and seminars? They're asking a sponsor in the US while working in Nigeria. We talked about self-petitioning. And then must one have his own company startup before they can apply? Those are 3 questions from one person, and I don't know if you could just speak around some of those questions and the route.
How did you receive some of them? Yeah, how did you know the national award? Were they mostly conferences? So, I mean, as a startup founder, you're pitching to multiple investors. Sometimes you pitch to 100, two people are interested. Of the 98 that were not interested or couldn't invest for whatever reason, they might say, oh, you know what, there's this program, I think you should go for it. You go for it, and, like this, for example, my team was selected to participate in something at CC Hub, and that's how we won this. I'm sure some of you might know CC Hub here in Yaba. This, for example, I was invited by SoundCloud. I think I had attended one of their events in Nairobi. What made me go to Nairobi then was that we had 2 partners, 2 technical strategic partners in Nairobi. So I started going, I've been to Nairobi maybe, I don't know. Nairobi is probably one country, the only country after Nigeria that I've been to more times than anywhere else, maybe 15 times or something. Anyways, so I got invited to participate in, I think it was a 3-day workshop, and they wanted to get 10 companies who would then participate in the final investment/award program, and that's how we became top 3 in that. What else? FinTech Week, FinTech Awards. I mean, I ran a FinTech company for it. And so we get invited to, we get selected, for the work that we're doing and being recognized for the impact that our work has created. We got this award. That's mostly been kids. I'm trying to look at some of these other ones here. For example, my MBA school, the alumni program, invited me as, I think, sorry, let me just get. Yes, that's this, right? MBA Digital Entrepreneurship Venture of the Year Award, right? So, University of Lagos, Association of MBA, blah, blah, blah. And like, oh, Salami, you did your MBA, Unilag, we recognize you for your digital entrepreneurship. They're the Venture of the Year. So I'll give you a Venture of the Year award. So those are how those things happen in different scenarios.
Fantastic.
And then the final question, must one have a company in the US? How does one get a sponsor in the US while working in Nigeria? It's not that straightforward. And I think maybe doing the one-on-one coaching, you can ask that. Must one have his own company or startup before you can apply? No. Like the scenario that Bade gave, if for example you are a software developer, you can apply through an agent who can place you with software companies. Again, most of these technical questions is better to speak with a professional, typically a lawyer, who can make that possible. An immigration lawyer, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, we can refer in terms of from the eMigr8 platform, as we've always explained, eMigr8, and on this session, we're not offering immigration, non-legal advice. We're just sharing from experience and sharing information as needed. And we do offer coaching services and loading services and so on to help you get to the point where you need to get to. A number of those lawyers, they actually have 100% success rate. But the reason why they have 100% success rate is because they will select you before they pick you on board.
Yeah.
What
you must qualify.
Yes, you must qualify. What eMigr8 is able to help you get to is the point of you becoming globally attractive, the point of you qualifying. Salami, I'll let you just rest your voice for just a few moments. I'm going to share a slide now. And then when you come back, you'll be speaking to 5 categories of our audience in eMigr8 community. First categories are beginners, and this is pretty much almost like final words. First categories are beginners. Second categories are intermediate people. They're already in the journey of tech. Third category are advanced people. They are highly advanced in the field of technology. Fourth category, people who are in different countries, not their home country, but they are not on a pathway to settlement. Anything you can say to them. And then fifth category are people who are already qualified in terms of what should they be doing now. But that's when we come back. I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to be talking about 2 parts of this session that I mentioned at the beginning. For those that are just joining us, this is the eMigr8 Open Day, focused on move to the US as a tech founder. And what we've been doing for the last few hours was for the last few minutes, was Salami sharing from his wealth of experience about his own personal journey, but also information that he is privy to as regards being able to move to the US as a tech founder. But then a question may come up to say, how do I become a tech founder in the first place? And this is where we want to talk about Labs by Bincom, which is a pre-incubation program that is organized by Bincom Dev Center. First of all, in terms of the landscape, for startups, the typical landscape now, of course, some people may jump and change and all of that, but the typical landscape is you start from ideation. You start from ideation to say you have an idea that could change the world. You have an idea that people would need. You see a problem that needs to be solved. And then you go on to incubation. And there are incubator programs that are able to help you make that idea become a real company. In some cases, they're able to provide some seed funding for you to get to the next stage, which is acceleration. And accelerators would be the likes of Y Combinator that I mentioned, Techstars, 500 companies, and there are quite a number of them. Some that are really large, and some like Salami and I was it Village Capital? I can't remember, but there are quite different types of accelerators out there at the end of the day. But the key point is that
Village Capital.
Was Village Capital, yeah. The key point is that this is a journey that most startups will go through. And at different stages, you'll be looking at things like validating the business, prototyping, developing the actual product, and getting to a point when the product is being used by real live customers. Now, what Labs by Bincom does for you, and what Labs by Bincom does for you is to help you start building that capacity in terms of you becoming a founder. It's a 3 to 6 months program, and it is absolutely beginner friendly. So if you're not in the field of technology at all today, you can actually use Labs by Bincom to start getting your hands dirty in terms of being able to build a product that real life customers will be able to start using. It is a pre-incubator program. What that means is that this is at the point where you're building an idea and you're building capacity. We bring you together with other similar-minded people who are also interested in going through this journey of building a minimum viable product. As part of the program, there are multiple stages, I believe 3 or 4 stages to the program. As part of the program, you will start by just ideating to say, what are the challenges that you can see around you? What are the challenges that, and it must meet 3 key criteria. It must be innovative, it must be viable, it must be scalable. Those are some of the criteria that we use. Some people that are aware of some visas we've talked about on the eMigr8 platform, you probably know where that came from. But yeah, you start with that ideation to say, what is a product that people would really want at this point? As part of the program Labs by Income, you are matched with a mentor that already has startup experience and have gone through the journey before and is able to handhold you through that entire process. You do the ideation, you're able to start building your business plans and start building your product requirement document. And then you go through the stage of building the actual product that people will need. And then it doesn't end there. You get to a stage where you start marketing the product and getting that product in the hands of real live users, real life customers who would need that product. And that could then become part of your claim to fame. That could then become something that you could bring into an incubation program. There are quite a number of incubation programs out there in the industry, not many pre-incubation programs. And that's where Labs by Bincom plays to say that, oh, we can help you get to that stage of you becoming a startup founder. So all of a sudden, it's no longer just something unattainable to you because you've never been in the field of technology at all. There's a lot of learning that will be involved. You will need to be able to spend about 20 hours every week on your startup. Now, if you notice, even if you have a full-time job, you can still work on a Labs by Bincom cohort, and you can still work with building that team. But you need to be able to dedicate that time to your startup, minimum of 10 hours really per week. But we really want you to target being able to do 20 hours per week for your startup. And if you do that for 6 months, you never can tell what would happen. It's a 3 months to 6 months program. You never can tell what would happen. So that's what Labs by Bincom does. And that's how Labs by Bincom is able to help you get to that stage. Because what you are able to then do is you, at that point of pre-seed, this is where Labs by Bincom plays, which is on the pre-seed level. And then gradually you are able to start building out something that can potentially change the world. Where Labs by Bincom plays is the ideation stage, the pre-incubation stage, at a point where you start prototyping, building something, building a minimum viable product that customers can start using. If you have questions about, we have a cohort starting this weekend on Labs by Bincom. And so if you're interested in that, you need to fill that link, bincom.net/labs, and that's where you get started if you're interested in Labs by Bincom. Second thing I will talk about, and then I'll be handing it back to Salami, is the eMigr8 Settle in the UK as a tech talent package. And if you notice, this is for the UK. But before I talk about this, I will just mention that eMigr8 has several packages that can support you in terms of your journey to becoming globally attractive, in terms of your journey to qualifying for many of these visa opportunities that we've mentioned over the course of this session, 1.5 hours now in this session. One of those packages, so we've got moved to the UK as a global talent, focused on the global talent visa and several other packages, but we have the Settle in the UK as a tech talent package, and that's what I will just talk about for a moment. It's suitable for you if you're a beginner in the field of technology, meaning that you've never done anything in technology before. This is suitable for you. But if you're already in the field of technology, you already have some experience in the field of technology, even better because it will make your journey shorter. If you already have startup experience in addition, so you're in technology and already have startup experience in addition, it's even much better because it also starts reducing the amount of the journey, which is for the Settle in the UK as a tech talent. You need to you are able to move with your spouse and dependent with this package. you are able to also use this as a means of switching your visa. If you're in the UK, for example, or any other country really, and you would like to switch to a different visa that has a pathway to settlement, this package may be useful for you. You will need time and equity investment, however, because we are not saying fake it till you make it. You will become globally attractive, so therefore you become qualified for the visa pathway that we're talking about. You need an investment budget as well that is needed for this package, and you need a minimum of 3 months to 6 months if you are interested in this package, which is the settle in the UK as a tech talent. But where it gets interesting for us on the eMigr8 platform is that we are able to offer a triple guarantee on this package. And the triple guarantee, part of it is the fact that we tie most of our fee of this package to your success. And so therefore, that's a very interesting package that you may want to take a look at. We also promised to say that if you waited till the end of this session, that we have a gift for you. And I'm just going to talk about that gift briefly now before I hand over to Salami. If you remember at the beginning of the open day, we mentioned that the eMigr8 platform, we are only able to do one free one-to-one session per individual. That's what we're able to do. However, because you were part of this open day or you watched this replay video till the end, we're able to offer you this gift, which is an extra one-to-one session also at no cost to you. What that means is you then get 2 one-to-one sessions with an eMigr8 coach where you are able to explore options and maybe also answer questions that are pertinent to you and that are personalized to you. You will need to do something though for you to claim that prize, which is that on any one of our communities, we are in multiple communities. eMigr8 communities on WhatsApp, we're on Telegram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube and all of that. You need to let the community managers know that you were part of this session. So you need to go on those communities and say that you have actually won that extra coaching session and you would be able to redeem it when you need it. The way we think it should work best is for you to use the first session, maybe for some discovery, for some questions that you need. If you go back after that session, the coaching session is usually very valuable. You will have a lot of information and it will open your eyes to many other things. And then you can go to the second session after a while, after you've done more research, after you've thought about it, you've done a lot more research around the pathway, around the roadmap, or whatever it is you were discussing with the coach. And then you can have a second session where they can clarify and do much more for you. But it's up to you how you want to use the gift that we've given you at the end of the day. It's a gift of our time at the end of the day. Yes, so back to you, Salami. And this is in rounding up as well. So I did mention that there 5 categories of audience. I'll just read them out one by one. So absolute beginners in the field, they're just coming into the field of technology for the first time. They're just looking at startup, technology, business analysis, newbies, and they're wondering, is this something for me at all? What would you say to them?
So personally, I think that technology is probably the most at least in an African scenario, the most zero bullshit field that I know. In technology, there are 2 levels of success or 2 levels of results. You build it and it works. Like, you know, when you can be a writer and you're writing and maybe people are not enjoying the story. With technology, if you build it and it works, that you'll be joyful. It will work. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There's no, so that's why some of the developers are the ones making it killing, financial wise nowadays. Because in marketing, your boss is not sure if your marketing skills are that effective to convert the customer. But technology, if you write the code and it works. If you test it and the testing is good, it's good. So if you want to get into technology as a beginner, I highly encourage you to do it. You are going to see results once you get it. And you can keep improving and you'll be excited with your results. The second layer of result is market success, which is the one that is most exciting. That's the one that creates billionaires, as it were, right? I mean, it's not impossible to do it any other way, right? But if you get what I mean. Where you built it, it works, but you have not taken it to market to make it succeed. And there are different roles you can play in that process. You know, you can play a role that is technical and you can play a role that is non-technical. But everybody contributes to that, that effort of building it to make sure it works, and then taking it to market to make sure that it's, achieving the results that you want it to achieve. And there's no role that is less important. If you are the guy that is helping the company go from 100 users to 100 million users, you are as important, I dare say even more important than the guy that built it, right? Because you can build, there's so many things that have been built and nobody's using it. But both roles are important. So if you want to do that, just get in now, find out what you like doing. Maybe if you're a visual person, you like designing, do UI, UX. If you're someone that is detail-oriented, you want to check that people have done their work well, do quality assurance. There's just so many things you could do. If you are, you want to, learn how to write software code, why not? Learn software development, right? So there's room for everybody and there's space for everybody. What's the next one?
Next one are intermediate people. So they're already in the journey of technology. They have 3 years experience, 4 years experience in the field, some technical, some non-technical. So technical software developers, data scientists, and all of that. 4 years, 5 years experience. They've already been in the field of technology for a while, and they are looking at what should be my next step. What should I be doing next? Some are earning high income already, some not quite in terms of high income, but ultimately they are looking for career growth. And what would you say to them? And they are in this session also because they're interested in the topic around eMigr8 tech visa, and they're in this session because they are looking at what can I do in the future.
All right, so 2 things pop out for me in your question, which is what should you do next, and then your immigration journey. I'd say in terms of immigration journey, there are a lot of exciting places. You kind of just need to decide why you want to do what you want to do, right? For me, venture building is my life. It took me a long time to settle on those 2 words, venture and building, right? I used to think it was entrepreneurship or being a founder or being a business person or whatever it is. But I finally settled on the fact that what my mission is called venture building. And now I'm fine-tuning my skills in knowing how to do it very well. It's a bunch of things in one, but that's the best summary for it. It's not venture capitalist, it's not pure founder, but a combination of many things that says, how do you go from problem to solution to millions of people, positively affected by that solution? That's what venture building is, So for you as an intermediate, I'd say, go through a journey that helps you discover what you want to do and let that guide you. If, for example, what you want to be is that you want to fix Nigerian roads, right? Guess what? It might be that you need to become a consultant for all the road people, FRSC, VIO, and don't restrict it to Nigeria. There's, a brother of mine that I admire a lot, Mr. Oshiemi, Sheyi Oshiemi, his husband to my former boss. I was VP, she was president, Apartheid, and he's worked everywhere. He worked in the UK. He came to Nigeria to be the COO of the same system that like, let me call it BRT so that people will know, but I think his own was called Lagos. CEO of Lagos in Nigeria left UK to come and do that, and then moved to Qatar or Kuwait. Now he's in the US, doing what he loves to do, running public transport systems. Right? Because he's found his calling. Everything he posts about on LinkedIn has to do with efficient public transport systems. Like, just figure out what you want to do, and you can do it anywhere in the world that you want to do it. And I'll just give you an example of someone who is doing that. But then just figure out what exactly you really want to do so that you can wake up every day and be excited you're doing it. Either you have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars or you have paid nothing. You still want to do it. Figure that out, and I think you'll be fine. And just open your mind to wanting to do it anywhere and everywhere. The world is a global village now. I don't see anything stopping you.
Fantastic. Third category, we're going to 5. Third category are advanced people in the field. 20 years experience, head of IT in microfinance bank, engineering manager somewhere, senior product manager in a bank, and all. We've got them in the community as well, and they are also curious to see what are my options. what can I do now? I'm highly experienced, I'm highly advanced in the field of technology. Am I going to go elsewhere and go start again? All of those kind of questions are coming to their mind. But do you have any thoughts to them as well in terms of what they can do at this point based on how senior and how experienced they are in the field as regards this whole immigration and migration journey?
Yeah, so I think here we're beginning to see a dissection between age and experience. And I say the first two categories, typically you probably find younger people. And I'd say in this category, you probably find older people, probably with families. It's not as easy to uproot your life, and move somewhere else, right? So I'd say think about it very carefully. Um, um, be open to a little bit of disruption in your comfort zone, moving to a new place. America specifically is the country that appreciates exceptional people who want to, build in the US. But explore your options very carefully and be very deliberate about your choice. I would also say, if you can, plan for it, right? Save up money for it, right? Guess what? You can start your own company. You can apply to work in different companies. You can build a skill. But if I tell you that planning to have $100,000 in your bank account for this objective is high, I'm kidding. I'm not. Especially because you have a family. So plan for it. And as long as you know what you want to do in this scenario, especially if you're at that advanced level, it's an easy thing to do. And if maybe on a personal note, don't forget Nigeria if you decide to leave. There's still going to be 200 million of us left here. And I think if you think about it, right, Columbus and all the people that explore the world, they explore the world without forgetting their country. Yeah. So let's explore the world. Let's make the world a better place. But let's also remember and do something to make Nigeria a better place.
Yeah, and you can also coach as well, exploring that world, be the very best that you can be internationally, globally, but then you can pull many people along as well for them to also be the very best that they can be. I was speaking about that recently as well. Salami, 2 more categories, right? And the next category are people, they've moved, right? They've moved with different visas, students, starter visa in the UK, O1 visa in the US. Also, they are looking for a pathway to settlement. Some it's clear to them, some not very clear to them what the next thing is. Some jumped without looking, and so they are feeling a bit stuck. Some have a good plan, but then this is also a category within the eMigr8 community where they have moved out of their home country, mostly Nigeria, but then we've got Ghana, we've got Kenya as well at the moment, a number of people, and they are now wondering what is next for me. Some are in the UK looking at the US because they are wondering if they have a pathway of settlement in the UK. Some are in the US looking at other countries, Hong Kong, for example, and all of that. But yeah, do you have any thoughts to that category of people?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Depending on, for example, what to do and your personal circumstances, explore all the options that makes the most sense for you, that you're most comfortable with. It might be that what you do is better, is more useful in Dubai, or more useful in Hong Kong, or more useful in Nigeria. And you are right now in the UK. The way I think is go where you think your purpose will be fulfilled. If you're in the UK and you think the US is a better environment for you, why not? Try. I know someone who is in the UK right now, and the person is like, hey, I think I prefer the US option. I finished my master's, blah, blah, blah. And this person is right now trying to do their EB2. Right? They're preparing to do their EB2. They're working hard in the UK, being good citizens, paying their taxes, earning their money and preparing to apply for EB2. And they literally, when they are qualified, up from UK as a permanent worker in the US. Boom. Guess what? The person did the master's in health management. Health is massive in the US. even more so than in the UK. So, I mean, go where your heart wants to be, explore, know all the details, study, and be where you need to be. But do not, I see a lot of people worried about, what would it look like if I move back to Nigeria? If you need to move back to Nigeria, I have a lot of friends, like bunch of friends. I have a friend who has a first class graduate from top university in the US, MBA from top, I don't want to mention the school, otherwise it's easy to know what I'm talking about. Like the top MBA, top 3 MBA in the world, has worked with all the biggest companies you can think about, top 3 tech company, top 3 investment bank. He lives in Nigeria. In fact, it's not that he's now even thinking of considering about getting any, someone who has lived abroad for over 10 years. Like, he lives in Nigeria. I said, that's it. I want to be in Nigeria. I mean, so if you need to come back to Nigeria, if Nigeria is suitable for you, the exciting things to do back here, come. We, for example, have a lot of our business operations here in Nigeria, and it's going to continue to be the case. So I really just say, figure out where you think, you'll be most fulfilled and do it. But nothing stops any of us from wanting to explore the world or even go to Mars with Elon Musk very soon.
Right. Fantastic. And then the 5th category is ready to apply. We've been talking about the O1 visa during this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. This is a category of people, they're almost qualified, already qualified, and they're ready to apply. What would you advise that category of people to do at this point?
So you're ready to apply, you think you qualify, book a session, a free session, since Bade is offering free sessions.
It's eMigr8, not Bade.
Yeah, for our readiness program, I mean, for us, which is specifically for the US for now, it was mostly for our own portfolio of companies and founders and execs in our companies. But now, I mean, working with folks like eMigr8, our friends, happy to open it up. We can help guide through that process. It's the cheapest package is $2,000 per year, $500 per quarter, to guide you through every step of the process. For example, if you wanted to start your company in the US, and I put up the link, pasipa.com, check it out to see everything there. We eMigr8 ourselves, work with you throughout that journey. Just start.
Fantastic. So I'll be coming to your final words, Salami, but I would just say to the audience, thank you for joining us in this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. We've gone over time, but it has been really, really insightful. Salami, thank you so much for your time as well. We do appreciate this opportunity. We would like some feedback. Please give Salami feedback right here on the chat as well. If you're watching the replay video, give feedback in the comments and just let us know how has this been for you. He spent his time to just try and help the community, spent his time to give back in a journey where he had to figure out by himself a few years ago as well. So just let us know to say if this has been impactful to you. Give us that feedback. And Salami, final words from you for this edition and final words to the eMigr8 community.
Thank you for having me. Hi to my good friend Moody. Good to see you. Bade and everyone at eMigr8. Awesome, good to be here, and thank you everyone for attending the session. I think my last word would be that I think Nigerians are probably the most hardworking people in the world. I think that Lagos is the best place in the world. I've lived here for most of my life, even though I now spend quite a lot of time outside Nigeria, outside Lagos. But Lagos is probably one of the best places in the world. So let's continue to be that, good example anywhere we are. And, there's just a lot that we can do as a country. And I think that if we all can just put our heads together and stop talking too much and just doing more, we can really be a great example for the world. And that's really where I want to end. And thank you all for coming. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Salami. We're both speaking to you from Yaba, Lagos, right? But the point is that the world is a global village. Ultimately, you can choose to leave your home country to go to a destination country like the US to be speaking about right now. You can choose to work in your own country remotely for companies from all over the world. You can choose to work in your own country locally, right, within that country itself. ultimately, what we believe is that be globally attractive. If you are globally attractive, you have options for anything you want to do all over the world. Many doors of opportunities will open to you. That's the key thing that we would keep saying to you as the eMigr8 and the eMigr8 community. If you need any level of support, we are available to help. Many of the coaches on the eMigr8 platform are actually dedicating their time to be able to handhold and help many people in the community. To a large extent, some of these coaches have to figure some of these things out by themselves, and they are willing to be able to share. We are limited by time, obviously, but we're always happy to help. And so if you are interested in anything that has been said today, if you need any further help, do reach out. The links will be posted at the bottom of this video for those watching the replay. And for those of us live on this call, lots of links have been shared with you in the comment section. Be sure to copy some of those out. Be sure to send a message out, and be sure to share this with other people in your network who may not know about this opportunity, and some of them may not know that they already qualify, or they could qualify in less than 3 months to 6 months for some of these opportunities, if only they try. Thank you so much for joining us at this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. We hope it's been insightful for you. If it was, please drop a comment, drop a message, let us know. We would like that feedback. Let us know in the community. Part of why we keep doing this is because we see the level of impact of our work. We have over 40 direct successes on the eMigr8 community, but there are several more successes of people we find in different countries of the world. Oh, we saw your video, you were the one that inspired me, and all of that. All those are also fantastic, and we would like to keep hearing those as well. So just give us feedback as much as possible. Thank you, everyone.